How do you measure progress in life? I measure progress by action. When people take affirmative action, when people take action like the action that you're taking, nothing beats that. Because we can talk all we want to talk, we can learn all we want to learn, but without action, nothing will ever happen. Our results are never going to change. In the next lesson, you're going to have a clearer picture of why is it that people do as they do? Why do they behave as they do and not behave as they know how to do? Does that make any sense? I guarantee you, if it doesn't right now, don't be worried, because the next lesson is going to make you understand exactly what I mean by people acting as they do and not acting as they know how to do. So enjoy the next lesson, because it's going to paint a picture so that you understand truly what we mean by what people know and what they do, and understanding the difference between the two. So meet you in the next lesson. Cheers. Today is a different day because we're on a different topic. First things first, this is Success Elementary, and we're going into deep with really understanding what is this whole life about. How do we move from where we are to where we want to be? And so usually a quick recap is what is very important. Remember where we started. I'll do a quick recap for every video lessons that we have done. If you haven't watched them, go and find them where we go into deep with every lesson. So where we started off is, we started off on who are you? Question mark. We went into detail about describing who we are, and we mentioned that the fundamental problems that we have in life, why we don't have enough money, why we can't make decisions, is for the mere fact that we are not yet clear on who we are. So we zoned in and summarized it that we are spiritual beings. We've got an intellect, and we live in a physical body. The major culprit is this. A lot of you have been conditioned, have been taught to think that you are your name, you are your body, you are your profession, you are the car that you drive, you are your father's kids, you are your wife's husband, or vice versa. You have been taught into associating your identity with all the physical stuff that you see today, for which that is not the truth. Because all what Success Elementary is about is, I'm giving you the truth each and every time we're going through with these lessons. And it's good that you have followed me through all the way up until we in this video session, because we are going into deep about who you are and what really happens between yourself and your environment at the end of the day. So first of all is to understand who you are. You are a spiritual being. You're not a physical being. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Human experience simply means you've got this thing that we have here, the body, the head, the arms, the legs, and the digestive system going on each and every day, which you do not have control over in the first place. You don't. Why? Because it's all happening automatically. There are certain laws that govern the very operation of the same body that you want to identify yourself as. Think about it. You are a spiritual being, you've got an intellect, and you live in a physical body. So the whole trip about the Success Elementary, where you need to succeed, is first of all in understanding who you are in the first place. Understand who you are. You are a spiritual being. By spirit we mean you can create almost anything that you want to create. There is no limit to what you can do. You have it all inside of you. to do anything that you have thought of, that you have always wanted to do inside. Spirit does not have boundaries. It's not bound by space and time. It's hard to believe that you have been here long before you moved into this body, and you are still going to exist long after this body, say 100 years, is long gone. But the question is, what are you going to be remembered for? Now the population in the world is going to 7 billion. What are you really going to be remembered for? Were you just one of those who was going with the masses? You didn't really know what you wanted. You were following others. You never wanted to be a leader. You thought there is a certain group of people which was meant to lead, and you were destined to follow. Not saying that there is anything wrong in following, but you can't follow anyone or anything forever. At some point, you need to follow someone to learn something from them. And after you learn, you need to learn the lessons and then embark on your journey, your own personal journey. You are a center of divine operation. Meaning, a center is you choose. You've got the power to choose where you want to go. You've got the power to choose in which direction you want to take. Because you've got everything inside of you to go for what you want to go for. So here with Success Elementary, I'm only giving you and revealing the truth and giving you the tools to move. Giving you the tools to move where you feel stuck. Giving you the move to move and pursue anything that you want to pursue. There is no limitations. Not even money is a limitation. Man is a slave of ideas. What is that idea that is lying inside of you that will result in you serving other people so that they reward you for their service, for the service that you're giving them? What is it? What is it that you have inside of you which is going to lead you to the next phase of you? You are not a supporting act. You are the main actor in your own life. But a lot of you, find it so easy to be chilling and to be following other people, group habit. It's so sad. So follow me here. Spirit has no boundaries. You are a creative individual. Spirit means to be creative. I gave you in the first place the law of creation. Everything that has ever been created on this earth, you name it, clothes, you name it, buildings, you name everything that we have working here, TVs, even this chalkboard marker that I'm holding here, started off as an idea in someone's mind. It started off as an idea. Now, was the idea physical? Was it tangible? No. It was somewhere in the ether, somewhere in the spiritual, where your true essence belongs. That's why you bumped across that idea that, okay, if I give myself time to really develop this, I think I can produce it to become physical and it can serve a lot of people. So how many ideas have you been keeping inside of you? All I'm asking for with this information in Success Elementary is for you to choose one, just one idea. So there's a way. You formulate a theory of how you're going to make that idea come into reality. So you see, you're moving from spirit into physical. That's how everything has ever been created on this earth, ever since the beginning of time. If you're a theologian, if you're good enough to go search in the Bible, you can go to Genesis as you enter how God created the heavens and earth, how God created the human beings, the vegetations, all the animals. It was created in the same way. So you have been given the capacity, you have been given the ability, which means you are able. The same way God created everything else, including you, You can create anything else after that moving forward. That's what is life. That's what life is all about. They say life is all about growth. And if you're not growing, most likely you are disintegrating. If you're not growing, you're disintegrating. If you're not expressing, you are depressing. So most of you, if you try to think about it, you could be depressed. Life gets in the way. Things happen. But after your journey with Success Elementary, you will be having a good understanding of how things are moving, how the world operates. How then do you fit in? How then do you express yourself to become someone that you have always wanted to be? There is no limit, by the way, because your true essence is that you are a spiritual being. So you come up with an idea, you theorize it, because you're in the driver's seat. No one can stop you from doing anything. You come up with your own theory of how you want to achieve that idea, that dream, that fantasy. How do you move then from theory into something concrete? We talked about goal setting. To make it a C-type goal, we said you're going to have to ask yourself 2 questions. Am I willing? Am I able? Are you willing? Willingness is your ability to focus on one thing and one thing only, up until you realize it to become a reality. In someone's mind, there was this in their mind, a whiteboard marker. When you use it to write on a whiteboard, you can then erase it even using your hands. They had that as an idea. They went to work. So you ask yourself, am I willing? Am I able to focus? Am I able to pull this off? If your 2 answers are yes and yes, now you've got a goal. Now you've got a flag post in the ether, which you are going for. Remember, a goal is something written on a piece of paper. You need to transform it from wherever you were thinking of into a piece of paper. That's the first stage of manifesting your goal. It has to become something physical. For you to stay, you have to stay it in the eye each and every day, each and every morning, each and every evening. During the day, you are thinking about your goal. From there on, the journey begins. Now you are moving from a goal on the paper to realizing it in physical form. So we talked of the different steps which you need to take in as far as goal setting is concerned. There are A-type goals, there are B-type goals. You don't have to waste your time thinking about those. What we want here is C-type goals, dreams, fantasies. There is no limit, mind you. Your true essence is that you're spirit. You're not bound by anything. So you need to move forward. You need to think big. If anyone wasn't thinking big, would we have skyscrapers today? Would we have aeroplanes? Would we have motor vehicles? Would we have TV stations? Even would we have TV screens? Would we have cell phones? We moved on to the next station where we looked at the different faculties. What are those tools that we have? God-given tools. Which was the intellect. We've got intellectual faculties. We name them memory, reason, perception, imagination, willpower, and intuition. Six, mental muscles. Everyone has these. It doesn't have anything to do with color, with race, with gender. If you are a woman and you think this is a big boy sport, you're lost. You have been taught, you have been conditioned to think the way you are thinking today. If you're a guy who's thinking this is for women, you're lost. Because your true essence is not being a boy or being a girl or being a woman or being a man. Your true essence is that you're a spiritual being. Spirit is not bound by this physical body. It's not bound by a set of rules. No. So everyone else has got these 6 mental faculties. You can improve your memory. You can exercise it. I say these are 6 mental muscles, just like any other physical muscle in your body. You can start practicing, you can start exercising, just like what athletes do. When you have your goal set, you can now start exercising your memory towards your goal. If your goal requires you to memorize numbers, you're going to have to be good at numbers. If your goal requires you to memorize names, you're going to be having to find a good book on how you memorize names and start working on it today, not tomorrow. Because practice makes perfect. So each and every day you wake up, you're doing your numbers. If your goal has got anything to do with numbers, the good part about school, which I found, was that it made this faculty stronger in almost each and every one of us. Our traditional school system focuses on us giving information, memorizing this information, and then we are asked the question about that information, you give it back. So the one who memorizes better is the best. But does that really necessarily mean that the one who's got a better faculty of memory is going to live a better life, is going to enjoy a better health? No, it doesn't mean that. You're going to need the aid of the 5 other mental faculties. You're going to need to use your reasoning faculty. We spoke about this. This is huge. Go back to the lesson on reasoning and understand the correct way to start thinking. Thinking is an art which needs to be exercised each and every day. You think of solutions. You think of how you want to serve people. You think of growth. You think of personal development. You think of places that you want to travel. That is the new way in which you are supposed to be thinking. Don't pay attention to all these headlines that you hear on the news, on the internet. Everything is just bombarding you and feeding you to push you into a fearful state. Someone who's fearful is easy to control. You see now. But you are a spiritual being. You are not bound and controlled by any set of rules. I'm not saying go out there and do bad things. No. All I'm saying is you can do as much good as it has been done before. You can add on to it and be a beautiful, beautiful human being living a beautiful life. Living that legacy to your kids and your kids' kids. You've got that chance to do it in this lifetime. You don't have to waste time at all, at all. We went on to look at perception. A lot of people are too rigid. They don't want to change their point of view. They want to stick to their religion, their way of doing things. They want to stick to the way they were brought up. They don't want to try new things. I was fighting with my wife this other day when I told her, why are you always getting the same hairstyle? And she told me, no, this funny hairstyle with colors and all that. I'm like, you don't have a grasp yet of who you are. But then I went to work, made her believe, taught her, took the time out to educate her about who she was. And then it made sense. The moment she understood who she was, she knew she was about expression, not to conform to a certain written number of rules, not to conform to a certain number of beliefs. No. She can formulate her own rules. She can formulate her own belief systems. As long as she's not violating anyone's right, you can be successful. You can be prosperous. You can enjoy life. You can enjoy growth for yourself and for your kids. So you change your point of view. You change for a moment or for a second how you see things. Any problem that approaches you, you've got that ability to change the point of view. Don't be rigid. See things in another person's shoes. Be empathetic. They say empathy is being able to put in yourself in another person's shoes. You know? Be empathetic. Change your view. You've got that ability. You need to exercise that ability because bigger problems are going to come. And you're going to need to approach them with a good mental perception. We talked of imagination, the marvelous tool that God has ever given us. You have got the ability to tap into the ether, into the invisible, to formulate an idea using your imaginative faculty. Use it. Don't lay it to rest, man. Why are you not even using your imaginative faculty? The only point where your imaginative faculty becomes alive is when you're gossiping about other people. Is when you're talking about other people. You see, you've been thinking negatively all this while. That's why negative things keep on coming and keep on approaching you the way they do. You've been using the memory to memorize junk and bullshit about other people. And you think you're going to succeed after that. You wake up every morning motivated by gossip, motivated by this one did this to that one, memorizing all those stories so that you can take them somewhere else. You're thinking wrong. You need to correct your thinking. Start thinking of an idea of yours which is positive to save people. Start thinking of an idea to save people. Start thinking of an idea to improve yourself, your personal development. Start thinking of places which you want to travel. Travel in there, in the ether. Think about if you've got that power. You use your imagination. Once you capture those moments, you've got this mental faculty which is called the willpower. You can then focus on it. Each and every day, each and every morning, you're thinking about that. You're talking about that. You're hanging around people who talk about that. You don't have time to be wasting with people who talk about other people, gossip people. When you find a group of people talking and counting other people's monies, move away from that group. You've got a goal to focus on. You can't be wasting time and energy on things that don't really matter, about other people's businesses, counting people's monies, talking about celebrities, and gossiping about them. You've got intuition. They say if you're praying, if you kneel down and pray, you're talking to God. But if you're using your intuition, God is talking to you. How many times have you felt some type of way, either in your stomach or something happened to stop you from going the direction in which you were going, but you still insisted anyway, only to find out 2-3 years down the line that you were going the wrong direction, but the signs were already there in the beginning. Other people have been married by people whom they didn't want to marry, but the signs were there before they even got married, but they still went ahead with that relationship, and now they're crying because that guy beats them every day. And they wonder why this guy changed. No, he never changed. You just didn't pay attention to what you were being shown each and every time you were with that guy when you were dating. Other people cry over money that they have lost because of making bad investment with good friends. The signs were there. That friend didn't want to do any business, didn't want to grow anything with you. He was after that money. The moment he got that chance, he took the money. But all this time, all the signs of what his intentions were there. But you were never too smart enough to just pay attention to your intuition. They say the biggest problem of us human beings is that we've got an ego. We think if we have gone to school, if we have done this, if we have done that, if we have gone through enough bullshit, now we have qualified not to go through any problems anymore. No. You have to get away. You have to get yourself out of your own way and let your intuition guide you. This is a mental faculty which guides you in this universe, because you are not all by yourself. You are surviving amongst 7 billion people, and you have to make your footprint such that those 7 billion people are impacted in a positive way. So those 3 video lessons we did was more or less like getting you to know who you are, getting you to set up your goal, and get you to understand the tools that you have once you have your goal in place to move from it being an idea on paper to actual realization of that dream or goal. The final part that we did was to explain to you about this part right here. How are you a spiritual being? And how do things work? We introduced the subject on the mind, where we asked, what's the first picture that comes to you when you hear the word mind? Because that is the guide that is going to make you understand how you function in the first place. And everything else that we are going to be discussing after that has got a hinge on that lesson on the mind. So once you get a grip of what we mean by the mind, then you've got the keys to the kingdom, right? So I'll wrap off here. We said we are spiritual beings. We've got an intellect, and we live in a physical body. The next topic was to discuss this part. What do you understand by the word mind? Go back to the lesson that we did the previous day. It explained much about the mind, but I'll just give you a quick recap on what the mind is. A man named Thurman Fleet, Dr. Thurman Fleet, in 1936, is it 36 or 34? Getting lost there, introduced the concept of a stickman. Big circle at the top, big circle at the bottom. You give it arms, you give it legs. The top circle at the top into half. The big circle here is called the conscious, is called the mind. And the bottom circle is your physical body. Mind has got a lot of parts to it. A lot of doctors talk of the cortex, the medulla oblongata, you name all the different parts they tell you. But at the end of the day, you have to understand just two basic things about the mind. The mind constitutes of two sections. The first section, which is the top section, is the conscious mind. The bottom section is the subconscious mind. What does the conscious mind do? The conscious mind section is where your five senses are connected. What you sense, hear, smell, taste, and touch. These are all physical features on your body. So a lot of people associate themselves with what they see, with what they hear, with what they smell, with what they taste, with what they touch. Then they identify with all that. But the truth of the matter is that nothing of the physical is important. What is the most important thing is about knowing your true self as a spiritual being, because it's the spirit that gives manifestation to everything that the body does. So a lot of people, they are controlled by their body. Their body is raging. It's fighting against them every step of the way. You look at someone who wants to shed a little bit of weight, they wake up the next morning, they're eating a piece of cake because the body is craving for sugar. But is the body really what you want? No. You ask them, what do you want? They will tell you, I need to shed weight. The problem is they don't have specifics of where they want to go. Apart from having specifics, they don't have a clearer picture of how they want to look like after they've shed that weight. So they're going in on a hit and miss basis, hoping that that thing that they're hoping for is going to manifest in the long run. But they're enslaved. Because they are bound by the body. They are bound by their senses. So your senses are hooked to the conscious mind. What does the conscious mind do? The conscious mind originates ideas. Why it originates ideas? Because this is where your mental faculties are resident. Where do ideas come from? You might want to ask. Some ideas are going to come from me. Some ideas are going to come from the TV. Some ideas are going to come from someone else whom you hear speaking. Some ideas are going to come from yourself through your imagination. We talked of two sides of imagination: synthetic imagination and creative imagination. Synthetic simply meaning you are tapping into your resources of experiences and the knowledge that you have accumulated over your years of surviving this earth. So when you tap in from there, it's just the same old you giving you the different ideas to follow through. Is that what you need to rely on? No. You need to rely on your creative imagination. So use your imagination in a creative way to tap into the ether and to build a different picture. Something outside of your normal comfort zone. Something outside logic. Your conscious mind is going to do that for you. Your conscious mind has got the ability to accept or reject any ideas. You read a headline on a newspaper, you've got that ability to chuck it aside. You've got that ability to reject that idea. You hear someone telling you that you are ugly, you're never going to be something else. Apart from this, you've got the ability to reject that idea and tell them, I'm going to be the best person that I was born to be. The best version of myself. Because I know who I am. You don't have to tell me I can't do this. You can't tell me I'm never going to have people who are going to work for me. Who are you? I know who I am. I attract good people. I attract good talent. All I'm doing this for is for your development and for your personal growth. So my subconscious mind is going to help me reject and accept those ideas. If you accept a bad idea, it is going straight to your subconscious mind. And what does your subconscious mind do? It doesn't have that ability. It can't reject. All it does is accept. Everything else that goes around it, it will accept. Only if your conscious mind allows that to happen. So guess what? A lot of people have got their conscious mind wide open. They're not thinking about their goals, their own personal wants, their own personal needs. They're not thinking about that. So everything else that is happening in the economy, bird flu, this, coronavirus, that, recession, this, and all that. And guess what? It's going straight into their subconscious mind. And look at the way they end up acting. So your subconscious mind does not have anything to accept or reject. It accepts everything. If your conscious mind, you don't develop enough to stand your ground, if you don't have a goal to focus on, your conscious mind is going to stay wide open. You're like babies. You see a lot of adults, beard and all, but they're still young babies. Because guess what? As young babies, as an infant arrives on this earth, they arrive like this. Their conscious mind is wide open. Their sense of hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, and sense of sight is not yet fully developed. And they can't accept or reject anything. Kids don't choose where they were born, the environment in which they were born. Everything else that is happening around their environment, they are soaking it all up. They're soaking it all up. And guess what? If you scare a kid, if you raise your voice at a kid, guess what is going to happen? Automatically, the body is going to fall into some form of shock. And guess what? The baby is going to cry. Most of you are behaving like babies, but now you are adults. And you don't have a clear understanding of what is really going on about you. Once a policy has been passed by the government, you are the first one to go out there talking of, these people did bad. That one took $15 billion from the government. That's why we are suffering. That's why prices of fuel are increasing. But what have you done? What is the goal that you want for yourself? Is it anything to do with fuel prices? Most of the time you might see, no. It doesn't have anything to do with that. So what are you waiting for? You'd rather spend 15 years crying about 15 billion which you never knew about, which you had that went missing. And you're going to stay like that for the rest of your life. And you cry all your life just because of the information that you have heard from newspapers, news and all that. Your subconscious mind stores programs that came in through genetics. On top of that, as you survived as a baby, as you grew from 12 to 19, you started developing. You started thinking for yourself now. You started thinking for yourself. Now your senses are working. Have you ever thought that most of the food you eat, your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents decided that you were supposed to eat that? You didn't have to make a decision on that one. They made that decision for you. But what do you like eating? If I ask you right now, what do you like the most in terms of meat? You're going to tell me chicken. You're going to tell me beef. Some say pork. Some say snakes. Some say bats. Because their ancestors always were eating bats. And subconsciously that program rests in their subconscious mind. There is no problem in them eating snakes. But if you don't have the program of eating snakes, even if it looks delicious in the plate, the moment you are told that's snake meat, you're never going to be found there eating. You run away with your life. Because your subconscious mind has been programmed with everything bad about a snake. Nothing good. So we went into deep about the operation of your conscious mind and the operation of your subconscious mind. So now today is a beautiful day, and the subject that we are going to be discussing about is why you do the things that you do, but not the things that you want to do. You are going to set up goals. You are going to fantasize and dream and put those dreams and goals on paper. But at the end of the day, it's not about what you know or what you have written down on paper that you want. It's about what you do. So there's a huge difference between what you know, what you have gathered from school, what you have gathered from college, from your degree program and all that, versus what you do. So the topic for today is what we call the knowing, doing gap. The knowing, doing gap. We talked of formulating goals, and we mentioned about the mind. Now moving forward with these lessons that are coming, these video lessons that are coming, they are going to give you a better and a clear understanding that most people didn't have that understanding up until the day they died. We spoke of the mind. We are using Dr. Thurman Fleet's diagram. This is all. Our five senses: what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch. This is your conscious mind. This is your subconscious mind. And this is your body. I want you to get a clear understanding of this diagram. It will make you understand a whole lot of things that a lot of people have carried to their graves. Because the body is connected to the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is where the programs are stored. Those old programs which you got from genetics, which you got from your environment, they are all stored in your subconscious mind. And it's called subconscious because you do many of the things that you do with your body. Your behavior, your actions, continuously forms your behavior. At the end of the day, your behavior determines your results. But guess what? Your conscious mind does the gathering of information. It gathers information. All the knowledge that you have been taught ever since now there is grade 0, which is elementary school. From grade 1 to 7, form secondary school, form 1 to form 6. Some even went for a degree program. Number 1, degree program. Number 2, degree program. Number 3, up until they got a master's. From master's, they got a doctorate. etc. The journey never stops. Where is all that information gathered? It's gathered in their conscious mind. All those books. All that knowledge is gathered in people's conscious mind. Because either they were reading it or they were hearing about it. That's how the information got to be stored in their memory faculty. Remember, we said the conscious mind is where your 6 mental faculties are resident. So your 5 senses is gathering information for you, and they are stored in your memory faculty. But does that really mean whatever you know to this very day is what you are doing? No. As you seem to know more, this is your know. You're knowing. And this is your doing. Because the body does everything, right? This gap, as people grow older, tend to get wider with age. Because now people know more, but they seem to be trapped into doing less. They think, no, because I'm old. No, because I've been divorced. No, because my boyfriend dumped me. Now you don't have to do anything. What you are doing today, that feeling of stuckness, that feeling of being trapped, that feeling of worthlessness is planted in your subconscious mind. These are programs already running. They are in your emotional mind. All the emotions that you feel today, hate, jealousy, all those negative emotions, they've been coded into you. You grew up in environments where violence was the order of the day. And the moment someone says something which you don't agree with, you're quick to jump for a fist fight. Why? Because that program is already inside of you. That is the program that is making you do what you are doing. It's not about what you know. It's about this program that resides in your subconscious part of the mind. One word that talks of these programs that run your day every day, they are called paradigms. Mental programs that are running your life each and every day without your conscious awareness. You see other people, they drive cars. You see other people, they cook while they're talking on their phone. Because those programs, it's a multitude. Of habits. When I say habit, this is a critical word because this is a force. A very powerful force that is formulated over a number of years, and they've set. When I talk of the word set, I want you to picture a ball of cement. When it sets, it's now concrete. You can't break through it. You are going to need effort, every inch of focus to go through that set rule or set program inside of your subconscious mind. You see other people getting late at work. No matter how many times you tell them, why are you late at school? From kids, they've been like that. Now as adults, they still behave like that. Because now their actions are now habitual. Their actions are now part and parcel of their behavior. That's who they are at the end of the day. They identify themselves with their behavior. And guess what? The same behavior that is causing them problems, they continue to do it anyway. Why? Because there is no new program that they have implanted inside of their minds. We are talking of these problems, we are talking of these paradigms, we are talking of these habits. Most of them, they are negative. And our trip in Success Elementary is to change those negative habits into positive habits. Because once you have a positive habit, your behavior is going to become positive. Your actions is going to become positive. That's how and only how you change your results to be positive. So now understand that when I ask you to go and fantasize and put your dream on paper, because it's nothing that you haven't done, it's nothing that you have done before. It's so foreign. These programs in your subconscious mind, the ones that got you stuck in the first place, they are going to put up a royal battle. I want you to master this. They're going to put up a royal battle to make you stay the same. When I say royal battle, I'm talking of a battle that you haven't seen before. Unlike anything that you had never met before. You thought you had seen everything. Wait till you start changing these. Or start writing new programs inside your subconscious mind. Oh, hell is going to break loose. That's the next lesson which you are going to go into. On the different stages of growth that you're going to have to go through. It's normal that you set your alarm at 6. When the alarm goes off, you snooze. Up until it's 8 o'clock again or you're late again. It's normal that you invested your money with someone and you lost that money because there is a money paradigm in operation. Everyone wants to change this money paradigm. All paradigms are changed by the same system, by the same process. Part and parcel of that process that we are trying to impart with Success Elementary. At the end of the Success Elementary, you're going to know exactly how to change some of these paradigms. Because there is a system to success. There's no secret to success. So if you're wondering why you keep finding the same boyfriends, why you keep going through bad deals, why you keep going late in meetings, you've got your answer right here. Never again should you ask any question from anyone to really get an understanding of what is going on with me. Because this is what is going on with you. You've got a multitude of negative habits that are running your life today. That runs your action and your behavior. And at the end of the day, it determines your results. The moment you're going to change your negative habits, it's going to change your behavior, the way you act, the way you talk, the way you walk. At the end of the day, your results are going to change. So we all want to change this money paradigm. We all want to change the paradigm of cleanliness and order. We all want to change the habit of being good negotiators. We all want to get around the paradigm of laziness, of procrastination, of decision making. There is a system of doing that. There is no secret. First of all, before we introduce the system, you've got to understand the fundamental basics of how you are operating in the first place. And this is you. Having understood this, you are now in a better position to formulate better goals and to act with the knowledge of anticipating the things that you are going to have to come across. So in the next lesson, we are going to be discussing the different levels of growth that you are going to go through as you begin this journey of success, moving from an idea up until you realize it into physical form. There are stages of growth which we are going to discuss. This diagram is as important to carry with throughout the lessons that remain in our video series. So stay tuned, go back and study the diagrams, do a little bit of research and get your grips on how you as a human being operate today. It's all by law. So you see the trick of it all. As people grow old, they seem to know more, but do less. And that is the major cause of frustration in a lot of people's lives. Our objective with Success Elementary is to close that gap between what they know and what they end up doing. Is to push you to do more of what you already know. And if you didn't have a goal, now I suppose you have one. For you've gone through the goal setting process and you've set up a goal which is bigger than yourself. I'm truly excited that you're making progress, and each and every lesson you're growing, because it's all in awareness. You didn't know this information and now you know. It's never going to shrink. It's going to aid you to do more and to become more. My life is beautiful, and my objective is to turn your life to be as beautiful as mine, or even better. So meet you in the next lesson. Be awesome, do more to be more.